This Star Trek Beyond review is brought to you by the Star Wars Card Trader app. I know that's weird, but if J.J. Abrams directed both Star Trek and Star Wars, then surely that gives me some kind of leeway. Anyway, it's free to download and includes hundreds of Star Wars characters, vehicles, locations, and more. There's also the ability to open new packs every day for free, so give it a go if you're keen. Also, these cards have the tendency to release new pieces of information, which is great, seeing as Rogue One is right around the corner, and by that I mean many months away. Okay, let's do the review. The Star Trek reboot from 2009, to me, was the perfect way to restart a series. It pays homage to the original and its characters, but was clever enough not to erase everything that came before it, setting these events in an entirely different timeline than from what's come before. And although it had a breakneck pace in comparison to the original series, it captured the essence of what it was to Star Trek, whilst at the same time being suspiciously similar to A New Hope. We also did a commentary track for it below. Also, if you're interested, you can pay a small amount of money for it, or be a Patreon and get it, or just listen for free. You know, whatever you want. I don't care. Okay, so then Into Darkness came along, which promised further adventures from the crew of the Enterprise. You know, to boldly go and all that. But it felt like a rehash of the first, and also the 80s classic, Wrath of Khan. It also invented teleporting to the other side of the galaxy, negating the need for starships, and managed to cure death itself. You know, which is kind of a game breaker. So going into Star Trek Beyond, my advice is, don't worry about Into Darkness. Besides, this movie is set up that way intentionally, it seems. I don't think it's referenced at all, actually. It acts more as a direct sequel to the first. And by first, I mean 11th, or something. How many Star Trek? There's so many. This time around, the crew, 3 years into their 5-year mission to push the boundaries of known space, find themselves marooned on a desolate world, pinned down by a new enemy with the voice of Idris Elba, but a face that's the perfect balance of a frilled neck lizard and a tire tread. They need to somehow work out how to return to the stars to warn others of the impending threat towards humanity and alien-anity. Okay, straight up. This movie's a lot of fun. It's probably the first kind of big budget blockbuster since Civil War that I've unabashedly enjoyed. The specifics of why that is? Well, you know, it's a mix of things really. First off, I'm no authority on Star Trek, so take all this from that perspective, but it feels like a solid self-contained episode without becoming too bogged down in making nods towards what's been going on before. See, Into Darkness tried to appeal to fans and non-fans of Star Trek alike, but somehow in doing so they ended up alienating, or people-aiding, mostly everyone, by including a cripplingly obvious twist to those who knew anything about Star Trek, and left everyone else scratching their heads like, what? Khan? Like the tiger? This, on the other hand, does include those nods. You know, we again get hints towards the original series. But it's more deftly handled. And the action sequences are really quite compelling. The hand-to-hand stuff is a little close up for my taste, but the space battles and dirt bike stuff, yeah, there's a dirt bike in this, it totally works. It all works. Something these newer films kind of don't really touch on are the quiet, more contemplative moments that have been the staple of many Star Trek series. Plus, you know, all the diplomacy and the like. This really isn't any different, though it does make some small steps towards that at the beginning, which I appreciated. But really, the strength of this movie is you get a better sense of the characters and how far they've come, namely Kirk and Spock. Kirk seems less kinda, look at me, I'm a cool, reckless dude, I'm in a bar fight, I'm a tough guy, I'm a cool, tough guy. And he's more, what am I doing with my life? Is this my legacy, just to follow in my father's footsteps? Who, by the way, had a real heroic end, but also there was that undignified explosion. Look at that! So embarrassing. Also, Spock's like, my home planet's gone. I should probably hook up with another Vulcan, because it's logical or whatever. But Uhura's like, wait, what? This movie's quite funny also. Not like, ha 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 ha! Not my real laugh. But there are a few humorous moments that fit within the overall flow of the story. A lot of which is between Spock and Bones, who end up on a little side quest together. And you know what? They have a really good dynamic. Also the villain, initially I thought, yeah, you know, he's pretty stock standard. But by the end, his motivations are clear and his involvement pays off. On the flip side of that, like all of these new movies, you got to make a lot of leaps in logic concerning the convenience in a way that a lot of the stuff comes together, especially geographically, and why certain ships would stay hidden from certain people, which I can't really elaborate on without spoiling anything. But it's so brisk, you know, I don't really think it matters. Also, if you're a diehard classic Star Trek fan who hates this timeline, this probably still isn't really for you. But bear in mind, I will say, it feels at least as good as the 2009 movie, and possibly better in the way it furthers the story, but obviously that's subjective. But hey, like I said, it's kinda great. And by not being so hung up on winking and nodding to what came before, it feels more like Star Trek because this universe now seems like it's more of its own thing. So I guess now that means the odd number Trek films are now the good ones, as opposed to when it used to be the even ones. So look forward to Star Trek 4 being total garbage. Okay, so I'm giving this movie I'm not really gonna rate a movie best or worst anymore because it's easily misinterpreted. So just listen to all the stuff I said prior to this, and you get the idea. Out of 10. And speaking of stuff prior to this, I've hidden a number of Star Trek original series Easter eggs throughout this video. 5 in total. If you can find them all, well, that means you found them all, and I commend you for that. Here's a medal. But don't take it unless you found them all. That's dishonest. And hey, if you want to keep track of all my videos, you can do so by turning on notifications if you're a subscriber. Tomorrow, actually, I've got a Batman The Killing Joke review coming. And you don't want to miss that. But you might, and that's okay. I have a medal for that also. But what did you think of Star Trek Beyond? And what do you consider to be the best Star Trek film or even series? I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Also, I have a movie podcast on iTunes and the like. And actually, it's now got its own YouTube channel. I'm moving it all over there, which you can find linked below. The latest one of which has us wrapping up all the big reveals from Star Wars Celebration. It was a real fun time. Alright, that'll do it. Thanks everyone. Take care.